Hello, everybody, and welcome into the Penny Bloom podcast. This is the Mandalorian Rewatch. That is Star Wars, the Mandalorian, the Watchmen. And it is I, Colton Robertson, and of course I am joined by Joseph George. What's up, buddy?
What's up?
Good to see you. Good to see you in the hoodie, all menacing and shit. We got Miles Buttress. What's up?
Not much. How are you?
I'm swell. What about my man's on the screen below me and to my right that I can see and you cannot? Kyler Barnett. Hello.
How's it going, guys?
Oh, it's good to see you. It's good to see you, I'll tell you. So, we're talking Chapter 12, The Siege, directed by Carl Weathers, written by Jon Favreau. Overall, how do you feel about this episode, Joseph?
I loved it. My prediction of a death happening in this episode didn't really happen.
No, yours and Kyler's prediction that Cargo would die did not play out.
Straight up disappointment.
But that wasn't, that's a small disappointment.
Well, I say disappointment. It was disappointing to not be right in an episode where we got so many right. Yeah. It would have been so sick to get that one right.
We did pretty solid on predictions this episode.
But I will say getting more grief Cargo is not a bad thing. Not opposed at all.
Absolutely not. Absolutely. I recall last week saying that this episode we won't see Ahsoka, next week we'll see Ahsoka, and that this week, somewhere between the planet they're on and Corvus, they would find Navarro, and that is how they would reunite with Cara Dune and Grief Karga.
You were pretty freaking spot on, man.
Actually, kind of annoyed with how right you were, because I really wanted you to just be completely wrong and for it to just be an episode full of Ahsoka. And as soon as it showed them like pulling into Navarro, I was like, God damn it, Colton. I hate you.
Yeah. Little do we know, Colton is on the producer team.
He actually, Jon Favreau's hitting him up for writing scripts.
If you were on the dude, I'd be so pissed. You didn't tell us any secrets or anything. I would be pissed.
Honestly, I can promise you with my whole heart that is not the case.
Even if you were, I wouldn't want you to tell me anything.
No, I would absolutely.
I 100% would. Yeah, no, same.
Dude, you better tell me the plot for season 3.
I don't know anything, guys.
Bro, if I don't get the concept art for season 4, wrap it up. Wrap it up.
Oh my god. So, what do you say we get into the scene by scene breakdown?
Absolutely.
Jump into it.
Let's jump into it. So, we open on Din piloting the crest as it barely holds together. It's really limping, like they've been saying, and he turns to Baby to ask if he has the wire. And then we look at an open panel on the wall, and in that panel you can see Baby, who is just trying his hardest.
Tell me this isn't like Baby Groot, Rocket, Guardians 2. Like, dude, this is so spot on about it.
Tell me that we weren't also right in a prediction from earlier in the season that when Din said, "Why don't you come over here and make yourself useful?" in episode 2, it would come back around to make something else funny later.
Yeah, well, he wasn't very useful, but it's very useful.
He tried though. And Mando asks the Baby several times to show him the red wire, and he just cannot get it right. He tells him to put the red wire where the blue one was, and the blue wire where the red one was, and to be sure not to touch the wires together. And Baby jabs the blue one back at the board, and he's like, no, not that. You need to plug the red one into the blue. And he says, but be sure not to touch them together. They are oppositely charged. And I'm like, of course, that Baby is going to understand.
You immediately know that he's going to do it.
Well, obviously, but also just like he's going, to this toddler, don't touch them together because they are negatively charged, and it's going to create an electricity bolt that will, get you. And, naturally,
he gets got.
Baby moves the wires towards each other, and Din's like, no, please don't touch them. Stop it. But, it's too late. We hear the shock and listen to Baby's little.
I really thought his ears were going to be like straight up, like in movies.
Dude, he looked like a, what are those dogs?
German Shepherd?
No, the ones that their ears are like real pointy. They're the real like sleek looking ones that like Doberman.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Look like a Doberman.
I really feel like from this scene, all this scene reminds me of is the Baby Groot scene in Guardians of the Galaxy 2, where they're trying to like tell him how to like defuse the bomb, and they're like outside of the thing. They're like, "All right, do this to defuse the bomb," and then he's just gone.
I am Groot.
I am Groot.
I am Groot. No, that is not it.
I love what Mando says when he messes it up.
Oh, dude, it's adorable here. You know, the smoke comes pouring out of the panel, and Dan looks in and he says, "Are you okay?"
Dude, I literally, in my reaction, I was like, "Oh, he wasn't even mad at him. Like, he's such a good little dad."
And you know, baby's response naturally was,
"Dude, like, I can't even hold the flashlight in the right spot for my dad, let alone
him sending me into wire shit, bro."
I was a little confused. Like, what part of a ship would have this small, little pathway?
Maybe it was like something that like Mando could get access to, like in a different, more evasive way, or like invasive way to the ship. But he was like, I also could just remove this panel and slide my kid into it.
I mean, when I have children, that's what I plan to do.
I want to see the whole process. I want to see him getting him and putting him in there. And being like,
do you think he like shoves him back in, or do you think he like puts him on the edge and lets him like walk back, or do you think he like
100% waddles back there?
I bet that was the process.
He just like takes him and just crams him in there and just all the way to the back.
He sets him down and he's like, "All right, now turn and walk don't walk this way, walk that way. Walk."
Just get in.
Just pushes him to the back.
God,
Joseph, that's actually the Baby Yoda service hatch. It's specific in every single ship. There's one little hatch that only Baby Yoda can get into.
That makes sense.
It does. But later on, Baby is slurping on some broth side by side with Din, and Din lifts his helmet a little bit, just enough to see his chin so he can take a drink. And Baby tilts his head, trying to get a peek of what's under the mask. And I was like, "Aw, he wants to see his dad's face." Wouldn't you? Like,
foreshadowing.
It's weird that he doesn't know what he looks like.
I mean, we kind of touched on that too, right? Predicted that the first time he would ever take off his helmet in front of anyone was going to be in front of Baby. It's just like foreshadowing, maybe hinting at that he's going to be talking to, Bo-Katan and her crew a little bit more, and maybe he's going to come away from his old ways and show Baby his face for the first time.
I think he will.
I feel like that first time that he shows Baby his face, Baby's gonna freak the fuck out. Like being like, "Who is this?"
I did not know that was an animal behind me.
Yeah, I did not know that either. Yeah. That shit blew my fucking mind. Holy shit.
Yeah, that's a dog behind me. That's a horse.
It stood up. It was perfectly blocked by the pillar behind me.
Yeah.
So we didn't see its head, and then
100% thought it was the pillow. That motherfucker.
And I was like, "What the fuck?"
I was really confused as to what you guys were freaking out about, and then I saw him moving behind me. I was like, "Oh yeah, that makes sense."
Dude,
yeah, it's a dog.
Ginormous.
That's a horse.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he weighs like 190 pounds.
Colton, you have a dog like that too.
Of course, I have massive dogs. But
I love that dog.
Let's jump back in.
Yeah, right. I feel like the first time Din takes off the helmet in front of Baby Yoda, he's just gonna freak the fuck out because he'd be like, "Who is this? Who is this man trying to talk to me?" Because I know, like, have you guys ever gotten gotten a drastically different haircut or something like that, and like had a dog freak out on you?
Yeah,
because that's happened to me, and I feel like that's gonna happen with Baby Yoda. He's just gonna be like, "Who is this? Who is this person trying to pick me up right now? Why is he wearing my dad's armor?"
No, I feel like he'll know. I
feel like he'll pick it up, but I also feel like at first he's gonna be like, "Who is it? Who the fuck is that?"
Fucking tilt his head back and forth.
Why'd you just take your skin off?
Why do you look like that?
Oh, that's true. He thinks it's just his skin. Well, no, not really, because he saw him take his helmet off and he was peeking in.
Yeah.
So who knows, man?
Who knows? But after this, Din suggests that they need to visit some friends for repairs, and he looks down at Baby and he goes, "How's the idea of going back to Navarro?" And
I like how he speaks so eloquently to him.
He understands every word he's saying.
Every word I'm saying. And he again lifts his helmet, and the two take a sip simultaneously, and it was extraordinarily cute.
Adorable.
They both. Din started making the move to take a drink, and Baby immediately was like, "Oh, okay, it's time."
It's like the cute thing where, boys look up to their dads, and they mimic it. Like at the dinner table, they'll always be like, cute. The dad's had his elbow on the table, the kid will put his elbow on the table, and it's just
it's really cute. I think that's what that was. Is like he realized that was his cue to take a drink. Was like, oh, he's taking a drink. It's time. But we then cut over to the armorer's workshop from the former Mandalorian covet, and we see a number of Aqualish. That's what this species is called, the Aqualish. They were formerly known as the Butt Faces. And they're all making their way around inside, and one makes its way over to a lava meerkat, as it is affectionately referred. This is called a lava meerkat. And it pulls it out of the cage and talks about how delicious it's going to be, and I was just like, don't you touch that fucking meerkat. And nearby a group is playing some sort of gambling game, and the one holding the meerkat's like, yo, no one touch anything until we fucking eat. And he slams the animal down, and he's ready to cut that thing's head off, and then a rattling in the distance causes them to hesitate. The other Aqualish draw their weapons, and one makes their way toward the door. Enter Cara Dune. Fuck yeah. I was like, oh man, here we go. Here she is. She's a badass.
Big turnaround.
As we know. She takes out this guy, rains fire on the others. One of them yells, "It's the Marshal!" And I'm like, of course Gina Carano wanted to play a cop. Blaster bolts fly as they continue to battle. She does a similar knife throw that Mando did in the first episode, and it felt kind of like a callback. Like, you remember when he did that shit where he like turned around, they had that angle.
Yeah.
It was cold.
Threw it right at the camera.
It was ice.
The same shit. She also did that shit where she put the dude on her back and charged backwards at him, and the guy got shot a bunch of times. I was like, yo, you can't aim lower than that.
Just shoot her in the legs, and then she'll fall down, and then you can just shoot her in the head. But hey, do whatever works for you, man. Sorry to be a little bit too graphic.
No, we're good.
Man. But she takes the last dude out, and the meerkat approaches to show his gratitude. And,
yeah, dude, I was so confused at first. I'm like, is she really doing all this for like a ferret? Which now I know it's a meerkat, but like, right, is she really going through all of this for like some PETA shit? Like, are you for real? Like, I mean, don't get me wrong, like, go animals and shit, like, activism and all that.
But like, you just killed 4 guys.
Like, yeah, goddamn, like, all for a ferret. Like, bro, is he worth it? Like, for real? You risking your life for that shit? Like,
so not just killed, you beat the shit out of it. Killed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, she really did her thing here, though, and she handled that rodent being on her shoulder and on her face a lot better than I would have handled a rodent being on my shoulder.
Yeah, I mean, like, this ain't no small rodent either. Like, we're talking about like this thing is.
That thing's got a smell too, and she just took it off her shoulder and was like, no, it's okay. Yep, go ahead. And she sets him down on the table and tells him to go on, that he's free. And but I think that meerkat just wanted to hang out with Cara, and she pulls out a little bit of food and feeds it to the guy, and this is satisfactory. She makes the exit. He devours this food.
Just secure the bag, and then we out.
Yeah, we next get the title card, which is always satisfactory, the timing of it. And we open on Din piloting a shaking Razor Crest to the surface of Navarro. And on the ground, Cara Dune and Greef Karga wait to greet their old friend. Greef shakes his head in dismay as he watches the just totally beaten down Razor Crest attempt to land. And then it again attempts to let down a ramp for Mando to exit on, and it stalls halfway because it's beaten to absolutely nothing at this point. It's barely a fucking ship.
Dude, the score in this scene was so like just like happy. It just made my heart like just so full. Like just this reunion.
They've been doing that a lot more this season.
Yeah,
like the heartwarming tracks.
The reunion and like. But just like you got Uncle Carl just sitting there, and you got you got Cara Dune, Mom,
and I just know that Greef Karga, like Carl Weathers as the director of this episode, was like, I need my one-on-one with Baby Yoda.
Yeah,
like, you just know that he had to, and he gets it here. But the shit stalls halfway, and Din has to jump down, and he walks over to the two and greets Karga with a forearm handshake, and then the two exchange some pleasantries, and Karga sicks his 2 best men on the ship's repairs.
They were sus from day one, bro.
That little ghost looking ass. Ghost from Ant-Man and the Wasp. He kind of looked like that, like with the mask, bro.
There was some like bad
vibes
music
from the jump.
Yeah.
Bad vibes.
Also,
bad
the way
vibe.
that the way that the one dude just like stared at him as he was walking away, it was obvious immediately. Like whenever I was watching it, whenever I watched it, I was like, oh, he's evil. He's doing something.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. And then he comes back around at the end. You're like, ah, fuck
I
this
fucking
guy.
knew
I
it.
forgot
Fucking
about
asshole.
you.
if you were evil, you're working for Moff Gideon, you don't want to be caught. Would you look back at them all suspicious and then be like, all right, I'm gonna go work on this guy's shit?
Would you stare at him as he's walking away, being like, all right, is he gone yet? Is he gone yet? All right, he's gone. Let me go do something.
But yeah, after this, Karga takes hold of the baby. And it's like, oh, look at you, little one. And he asks Mando if he's been taking good care of him, and then he asks the baby if Mando's been taking good care of him, and then he looks at Mando and goes, "Are you taking good care of him?" And then he goes, "He said yeah. Did you see that?"
I love him.
I think Grief Karga, like holding Baby Yoda, was a callback to whenever they landed on Navarro and they weren't very trusting of each other.
Mm-hmm.
And this is like a way of saying like, okay, we all trust each other now.
Now it's time for you
Dude.
to ask your suspicions of Karga.
His facial hair looks so clean in this episode.
Him.
I just noticed that, but
Him.
it looks like he's looking nice.
Bro is looking clean.
Like, bro,
and-
I would love to just like sit down. I feel like he's got so many good takes, like just these old head rap takes, bro. Like I could just listen to it for hours. I can just see the vibes. I just see
I see the vibes. They're contagious.
I also, I think the way he interacts with Baby Yoda is the way that every one of us wants to.
Oh, absolutely.
Like just every person just
Bro,
wants to feel
he's fun uncle.
All right, except for Joseph because you want to eat him, so that's a whole different conversation.
Yeah, dog,
But
get
I
the
feel like
fuck
we just
out
want
of
to pick
here.
him up and be like, "Oh, is he taking good care of you?"
Bro,
it's
he's just
adorable.
fun uncle, bro.
Yeah.
He's the
Fun
funkle.
He's Funkle Carl.
Did he make you go in?
Which does not sound like a very good uncle. Like, I'm sorry, but like on the list of like creepy uncles,
Yeah.
like Uncle Carl sounds like that's top 2 and it's not 2, my guy. Like, I'm just saying.
Just like, oh, is he making you go in and plug wires together and shock yourself? What an asshole!
But as Grief is holding the baby, he leads the other two into the town, and as they walk away, the camera lingers on the fuckboy fixing up the crest
God, fuck that
as
guy.
they watches them walk away, and the three wander through the streets of Navarro, where we see the streets just full of life, the exact opposite of what we've seen of Navarro in the past, which was really, really cool. I liked that addition a lot, and we see an IG-11 statue in the middle of the town square because IG-11, liberated the people of Navarro, which is like.
I'm so
Crazy.
glad I have you around because like I did not catch that when I watched it the first time.
Yeah,
Like,
You didn't
no
catch
idea.
that?
Nope,
I
didn't either.
I did.
Oh man,
Maybe I don't look hard enough, but I simply just missed it.
yeah.
Was it like while they were walking off like screen or something like that?
They
or?
were like, it was a pretty lingering shot.
Yeah.
It went over. It was when they were about to enter the school.
Well, what makes
I
me
think
so
they-
mad, I guess, is that it's like a big statue. Like when you sent it, I felt so stupid because like it's
Yeah.
right there.
I was gonna say, didn't they like walk into like the school or something like that, and then it like panned onto the statue and like lingered on it for a second, and then it went on to the
not
next
all
scene.
the way though. It was just
Not
kinda
like all the way,
showing
but it was
scene.
like-
Colton,
it
don't
was
flatter
there, and
me.
it, like,
I'm an idiot. It's
lingered.
okay. You don't have to cover my feelings. It's okay.
But during all this, Mando was explaining that he had a run-in with the New Republic, and Karga's talking about how they should just stay out of the Outer Rim, because the Empire couldn't settle it. What the fuck makes the New Republic think they'll be able to? That's a good take, Uncle Carl. That's a good
I
take.
mean, it is.
Which
Oh,
I kind of like it. Like, I feel like this like, imagining this, like, just this lawless area. I won't say lawless, but, like, because look at Navarro from what it was. But, I mean, like, they just don't want to be meddled with. Like,
They're not to be fucked with.
Yeah. They feel like they've got a good thing going on, and there needs to probably be some place in the galaxy that's, like, kind of just there, existing, like, neutral, I don't know. What do I know? Yeah, just a good old Scotland just out there.
Just a fucking Iceland, just chilling.
Sweden, bro, no, Sweden.
But they enter the building where they once fell under fire of Moff Gideon and his troopers, and they showed Din that they have turned it into a school.
Yeah,
which was awesome. Just
yeah,
a really,
this is
really
just
great
so
moment.
like wholesome, but like at the same
It's
time,
so cute.
bro, think about this. There was literally a fucking massacre on these premises. And we're just having students, bro. Like, there's got to be some bad juju going on in there. Just the vibe's got to be off.
The dark side's got to be
God
strong.
damn, bro. Like, imagine you just, like, peel up an old tile on the floor and there's just a fucking stormtrooper helmet, just fucking blood-coated. Just,
I mean, I don't think that many stormtroopers died inside the building. I think, pretty sure most of them die outside the building?
I mean, bro,
Yeah,
just
where
okay, so
IG-11 has been
recess,
tried.
just recess out there, just God, I'm just saying.
I mean,
man.
they have to find something to use as a ball. Why not use a stormtrooper helmet?
Yo, like the Ewoks, they can use it as a drum.
Exactly.
Drums, yeah. After they've eaten the stormtroopers, because you know the Ewoks did that shit, right?
Oh, 100%.
Wait, like that's canon? Like that's legit?
Well, they were about to cook up Luke, Han, and Chewie.
Oh, God, I
I
didn't
can
even think
only
about
assume
that.
that after the stormtroopers died, they were like, "Yo, we can feast
them
for
motherfuckers
weeks."
were munching, bro. That was like,
We're
damn,
not
That's
going
like
to have to go
Thanksgiving, man.
hunting for months.
that is a feast, bro. You are cooling. That's like where you've got too much leftovers. Like you gotta freeze that shit. Like that's what we're talking about. Like
They're like hitting the Death Star 2 wreckage, like looking for meals.
God,
Looking
damn.
for meals.
But oh shit, that's fucking funny. During this school session though, we get mentioned of some expanded universe stuff. We get the Corellian Run and the Hydean Way, which are both they've been expanded upon in the EU, which I thought was cool. They keep paying homage to stuff that longtime fans will be able to, like, I'm talking like
Yeah.
first generation that had to live the 15-year gap where there wasn't any new Star Wars. Like, it was just that trilogy, and they had to, like, they read shit. Just like
Also, like, the only thing that I feel like they would talk about, like, in a Star Wars school is like, all right, now what's the quickest way between these 2 points in space?
yeah, exactly. Like, what else do you need?
Yeah.
They'll just fly everywhere. But Karga tells Din that he is going to leave the baby here so that they can talk business. And as always, he's not a fan of the idea. But Karga says that where they're going, it's no place for a child. I promise he'll be safe here. And he gets Kara's word for it, too, and sets the child down. And all the kids whisper about how cute the little shit is. It's
Yo,
adorable.
Billy, just like, bro, he's just Billy Madison in this bitch, just coming to school, 50 years old. Fuck it, man.
Bro, you know it. And cue the noise. When Din and the others exit, baby takes a look at the kid next to him. He's got this long, beautiful hair.
Did any of you guys get this, like, vibe? Like, I know it's not, but, like,
He
looked,
did look like young Boba.
yes, bro. He looked just like him. The hair, the colors on the, like, it seemed like they were just trying to fuck with you.
Also, just like young Boba, he is an asshole.
Yeah,
He
what the
is
fuck,
an
bro? Share
asshole.
your cookies with the new kid.
Share your fucking macaroons with him.
Fire!
Yo, what I had said?
My fucking favorite young Boba line from Attack of the Clones when Jango is chasing Obi-Wan. He goes, "Get him, Dad! Fire!"
No, I when I saw him sit baby down and he was wanting those macaroons, all I could think about, I was like, yo, if they give us a scene where Baby Yoda's in the lunchroom and sits by himself, I'm gonna cry. Like, I was gonna cry real tears.
Bro, that'd be so sad.
It literally, bro,
There would be no way that he would be by himself. Are you kidding me?
Oh,
there
no,
would be
all those
1,000
kids
kids
would surround
surrounding him.
bro, he's 50, so he's older. You know, chicks dig that
They
shit.
don't
He
dig
was
that
fuck,
shit.
like, bro,
Man.
come on.
That's
He
a
is
case,
back-
bro.
He is picking up the honeys.
Man.
Ace. Those people were like 10.
Yo, Baby Yoda is picking up the honeys. That's all I'm saying.
Have some peace. He asked the kid if he can, have a macaroon. After he stares at him for a while.
Yeah, and by asking me,
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate the stones on him. He's the new kid. He just pulls up like, yo, that's yours. I need some. Like, what the fuck? Like, no
those
doubt.
look good. Give.
I'm a growing boy.
Yo,
I
Yeah,
gotta eat.
like,
those are
I'm
some bright-
entitled to those.
Those are some bright blue cookies. That looks schmack. Way better than the eggs I was just eating.
I don't know, man. He was looking at them
No,
eggs.
I
so
mean
vicious.
the egg the last egg he ate.
Oh.
The fucking spider one. He's
Well,
probably like, yo,
No,
those
he got.
cookies-
Remember, he saved one of the
Yeah,
fish
he
ladies'
did.
eggs. He ate it on the ship because it's
He
like
did.
panned to him.
On
And
the
he's like,
closing scene.
You're right.
He did.
You're correct. You're correct.
I think those are like caviar when you think about it.
Dude, you were just so, and like, you love these eggs, Joseph. All you think about is these eggs and what they're doing for your baby Yoda marinating.
Sorry, man.
Hey, think about what these macaroons are doing for him, Joseph.
But, he asked the kid if he can have a macaroon, and the kid's a real fucking dick about it. So instead of just handing him one, baby's like, fuck you, kid. I'm gonna take the whole goddamn thing. And, he uses the force and he pulls that shit right off his desk, and the kid's like, yo, what the fuck?
So what I was thinking about was the fact that, like, as a teacher, bro, what the fuck you gonna do there? Like, this kid's here for one day. There's no, you punish him. What the fuck is a punishment gonna do? Like,
What's
this
the kid
kid's
gonna
not
say?
sticking around. You
Move
just,
my
like,
cookies, and
this
I don't
kid
know
can
how.
do whatever the fuck you
He
want.
stole my cookies, and I don't know how.
I don't know what the teacher would do, or the kid.
Also, how do you look Baby Yoda in the face and be like, nah, you did some fucked up shit? No, you're definitely giving that man every benefit of the doubt. Like, he ain't guilty.
No, I 100% think this might be one of my favorite scene of this entire season so far.
Yo,
just because it's so cute and so funny, because the kid is like, fuck you, I'm not giving you a cookie. And then he turns his head for a second. And as soon as he turned his head and it panned, I was like, all right, those cookies are no longer his. Those cookies are baby's now. And they just panned back over, and baby's just sitting there with a cookie in his mouth. The blue shit already on his chest from where it crumbled down past his mouth, and he's just like,
Yeah, bro, just munching those cookies, victorious.
Yeah.
And after that, we cut to Karga's office, where we see the Mithril again for the first time since he was put in carbonite. And Din follows in behind Karga, and the Mithril lets some sort of mist out of his neck, which I'm assuming is like he let out like a fart.
Oh, I was thinking it was closer, like he pissed himself.
No, they mentioned this on the speeder when they're driving out. It's his humidity vest, remember?
Oh.
It keeps him like hydrated. He's probably a like sea-ish creature, right? So like he must need like some water in his gills probably. So that probably covers his gills.
I thought that was reactionary.
Yeah, that seemed like it was like a reaction of like almost like he pissed himself in fear.
Oh, well, I don't know. I just assumed that was what he was talking about when they talked about it. And well, it could still be reactionary. Maybe if it senses it's like getting low or something, it like kicks on.
Maybe
so maybe like when he saw them, he was like, "Oh shit," and dried out for a second, and then it was
that's him like breaking into sweat.
He's like, "Oh shit."
But Karga explains that the Mithril had dipped on him when he had money owed to him, and the Mithril cuts in to finish explaining that Magistrate Karga was honorable enough to let him work off his debt for the next 350 years.
That was pretty funny.
What are you gonna do, man?
And what I liked about this is that like he's Magistrate Karga, which means he is running the city, which means he is basically Navarro's Lando, the way Lando was to Cloud City.
Bro, the funniest thing is I feel like Carl Weathers, or just Grief Karga in general, but even Carl Weathers, like, bro, he's going to demand you call him Magistrate. Like, there is no call. Like, that man, his sense for extravagance is like, nah, he ain't gonna let you get away with some...
Magistrate Karga.
Yeah, you will refer to him as Magistrate.
That is Magistrate Karga to you.
With your fucking head. And he'll be like, nah, I'm just kidding.
But try it. Try me.
Yeah.
Bro, he didn't refer
Try me, bitch.
to like his town or his city. He said, "It's my planet." Like, it's his planet, bro.
He did say it's his planet.
Dang. That is some G shit.
I want the Imperials off my planet.
Damn.
Well, Din says if he runs off again, let me know. And I was just like, man, poor Mithril. This guy's just got to be scared for his fucking life. And Karga, and Din make their way over to talk some business. Karga says that the repairs will take some time, so in the meantime, you'll have some free time? Maybe you could help us?
Go to a very dangerous place that we're not really going to tell you about how dangerous it is.
No, it was an abandoned outpost. There's no one there.
Well,
skeleton crew.
Yeah, bro, as soon as you say that, you know that some shit's
it's going to be popping.
Oh, yeah. Kara pulls up a hollow map of Navarro, showing that a ways down the road there's an old Imperial base that has, for some reason, not yet been abandoned, but has a skeleton crew. Karga explains that there's a lot of heavy weaponry and that he doesn't want it to get to the Black Marketeers, you know? I don't want them to come in, swoop up the goodies, making Navarro a hotbed for the black market again.
Which is so funny because look at what his role was in the last stage of Navarro.
That shows how much he's He's evolved as a man.
No, absolutely.
Well-
It's just so funny, like that, like change up, bro.
Oh, like he was
Listen.
hiring people to kill people.
Whenever he's not in charge of the planet, he's going to participate in the black market. But now that he's in charge of it, he wants to see a better Navarro.
But what's interesting too is that he like chose that life. That like that's what's encouraging to me is that Grief Karga took over. He was like, I will lead this place from ruin, you know? And I appreciate that about my guy.
That's not an easy task, man. To turn a planet
No, not
around.
at all.
Turn a planet around.
And he's got big plans too. He says that if they take out the bait, Navarro will be completely safe, and they could be a trade anchor for the entire sector. He wants to expand like a motherfucker.
He's going to
Grief
be
Karga's the ultimate capitalist.
Yeah, he's gonna be the
Hey,
one
you know what?
owner.
Make Navarro great again. All right, let's get at it.
But Din agrees after this. He's like, "Fine, what are we looking at?" And we next see the Mithril driving a land speeder across the lava flats with Cara Dune sitting shotgun and Grief and Mando in the back. Karga's explaining the whole base is powered by a reactor. We get in there, we blow it up, bye-bye base. That's the plan.
So is it
that
me,
sounds like
or
a solid plan.
or
That's
does-
like a 3-step plan.
does every Imperial base, Death Star, anything have the dumbest way to power it, or vent out air, or whatever? The easiest way to blow it up?
Yeah, it's always just
Well-
extremely convenient.
But I also feel like with those type of things, I mean, like once you're making a base that's run entirely on one power source that's all gotten from one thing, it's gonna be easy to destroy. Because like the Death Star was powered by a giant reactor. This is powered by a giant fucking lava reactor. Like they're requiring so much power that you have to make it be something that's super complex. That if you just slightly fuck it up, it's gonna ruin everything.
Oh, and is there anything that's more just imperial than a fucking
Lava reactor.
a secret cloning facility in a fucking lava flat planet?
Yeah. No, there isn't. It's great.
It's just perfect. But Mithril asks how close they want him to drop him off, and Karga says the front door will be just fine. And the Mithril is like, "Well, that's a bit unsafe for a citizen, don't you think, buddy?" And Karga's like, "I'll tell you what, knock 100 years off your debt, or we'll leave you out here, and I'll take your humidity vest. Your choice." And he's like, "Well, that's not much of a choice, is it?" And Cara Dune's like, "Fuck this guy." So
Basically, Karga's bitch at this point.
Yeah. I
oh,
like
100%.
there were a couple, like the first time he said it, I was like, I kind of feel bad for this dude. Like this dude is pretty much a slave for the next 350 years for the rest of his life. And then he just keeps on being like, I'll take 100 years off your sentence. And I was like, all right, no, this is pretty funny. I enjoy this actually.
That's the thing too, is that Karga's taking advantage of the fact that like his lifespan isn't another 350 years. So he can just like make this guy do anything by knocking years off his debt.
Yeah.
And it won't affect him at all because like as long as he keeps that shit above, like, let's be real, like 50, 60 years max.
He still got him for the rest of
He's
his
still
life.
got him
yeah.
for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
But they get to the door, and the three hop out and try to get the door open. And the controls are all melted because the quote Imperial trash wasn't built to withstand lava. And Mithral's like, "Well, I'm gonna head out. If you guys want to hit me up? If you guys want to hit me up on the comm, we can set up a rendezvous time later." And and Karga's not having that. He says he'll knock another 30 years off his debt if he shuts up and helps. And the Mithril goes, "Well, you want to be quick about it?" I was like, "Damn, bro, you just don't know when to shut the fuck up." And Karga tells him to grab the flange cutter and get the door open. And while they're trying to figure that out, Din's like, "I'll be right back," and he just goes ahead and goes on upstairs with
He really just fucks right off.
no,
Bro,
he's just like,
I thought-
I'll be right back.
I thought at least one of them was going to be like, man, I want one of those. But
Oh,
like, it
yeah.
didn't happen. I was really waiting for it, and I'm like, wow.
Oh yeah, Cara Dune 100% at some point is gonna be like, "Yeah, I really like those. I could use one of those."
Hey, can I be like an honorary Mandalorian or?
But he flies off, and then just a few seconds later, we hear some as a trooper falls to the ground from the sky.
They're so bad. They're so bad. And I had this thought. I was like, when I looked at my notes, which were actually videos, but whatever. I'm sitting there watching, and I sat there and said, I'm like, dude, these things are like playoff, like anyone off the Lakers bench in the playoffs, just goddamn awful, dude, just like useless. And it's like, bro. And then I thought about it, and I was like, dude. What if they just get like no respect from George Lucas at all? They're just like George Lucas created this character to just get absolutely shit on. Like that was his goal. And then I was like, damn, those poor things.
You said that they were like the Lakers bench in the playoffs this last year?
Okay, Rajon Rondo was incredible.
Well, no. I'm with you here. I'm saying Moff Gideon's about to level up the way Rob Pelinka did this offseason.
Okay.
With the Dark Troopers at the end.
Yeah,
Hear the
bro,
noise, baby.
right.
I think
The noise. That was just a perfect basketball analogy.
We do it all. I mean,
We do it all.
If you don't listen, I mean, like, if you're not listening to this, what are you doing?
Oh, you're making a big fat fucking mistake is what you're doing. But the elevator opens and Kara and Karga invite the Mithril inside and he says, you know what, he'll be fine. And they're like, well, you'll die, so
See
come
ya.
on. So come on up. And he's like, fine. But we next get a shot of the full length of the base built into the canyon, and this is just some real Imperial ass shit right here. It looked pretty badass, and I enjoyed it. But the three arrive at the top of the elevator, and it opens where they are greeted by Din, surrounded by trooper bodies, and he goes, "Empty base, huh?" Not the case. And the Mithril spots a badass Imperial weapon called a Trexler Marauder.
wow.
He says that they will, they could get a fortune for this on the black market. And Mando says, well, it's going to burn up just like the rest of this place, so let's fuck right off.
Maybe not.
And they make their way into the base. And we cut up to an imp watching security cameras, and he notices one is down, so he tries to engage with them on the comms, but, he ain't got time for that. Kara sneaks up, chokes this man the fuck out, like it ain't no fucking problem. And Din slips in, scrambles the signal of all the cameras. Karga finds a code cylinder on this guy's unconscious body, and they're making their way straight through this fucking base, They sneak through it, past several troopers, get to a door. They're like, Mithril, open that shit.
I like how he's just their bitch. Like, they just absolutely...
No, they make him do everything.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
like, they act
literally
like
everything they could make him
helpless.
do, they did. It's really fucking funny, though. And I hope he kind of serves this role. I mean, he will serve this role every time he pops up the rest of the series, which is kind of fucking hilarious.
Do you want 20 more years off?
But, they open this door with the code cylinder thing that Karga got off his body. And behind these doors is the control for the reactor. And they're like, all right, Mithril, get on out over the lava and turn this thing the fuck off.
Heck
and he's like,
no, man.
But no, please. And he's like, I'll knock another whatever many years off your sentence if you do it. And he's like, oh, fine. Then he heads out there. He's like, there's no guardrail on this thing.
And they're like, yep, nope, there's not. What are you going to do?
Very reminiscent of Star Wars Episode 4 when Ben Kenobi snuck around the outside to turn off their reactor. Or their, that wasn't the reactor, that would have been the fucking, what's the thing called when it pulls the ship in? Tractor beam. I could not get the word. But, Mithril eventually, he figures it out. He deactivates the reactor. And he's like, it's going up, let's get out of here. And they bounce. And the lava rises, alarms sound, and they're retreating, heading back for the speeder. And Karga says that they have 10 minutes at most, which is not a lot of time given the rest of the episode. And they duck out of sight when a group of troopers is running down the hall ahead. It sends them in the direction of two imps trying to clear the drive, and they are wearing the same costumes that we've seen worn by Dr. Pershing, which is important. When the group arrives, one of the two imps yells, "Destroy it!" And the other fires upon the computer. They exchanged shots, but the imp stood absolutely no fucking chance because do you know who you're fucking with? And
yeah, absolutely.
The group looks to the wall, lined with vats of blue liquid containing lifeless and likely failed clones. And what a fucking reveal this was, huh?
I mean, This was probably the only time this episode where I was just jaw dropped. I didn't know I didn't know what to think. I didn't know what to say, or I just don't know. It was.
I mean, and let's talk about it. Theories. What do you think is being cloned here? What's going on here?
So I know we kind of talked about the Snoke thing, and while I've seen side by sides and like the scar kind of thing. I get it. I just feel like I agree. I feel like it's just too small. The body, it's too small. Snoke was.
Well, I mean, it is a failed clone.
Oh, well.
This is it could also be like early stuff on Snoke, because this is, how many years is this after the fall of the?
I think 5.
Yeah, so we're talking about there's still another 12 years before, or like
I think there's like 25 years.
Oh yeah, shit. Because what's his name?
I think there's like a 28-year gap.
Because Kylo Ren is like 20, is like almost 30 in the sequel, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, so there's like another 20 years before the First Order truly rises again, and then another like 5 or so before like the sequel trilogy. So this could just be like early work that they're doing on like perfecting clones and shit. So this could just be like another failed clone as they're trying to force midichlorians into clones.
I wonder if we're going to get some... I don't think we'll get this. I'm just posing some theories, considering we're humoring the Snoke idea. What if Moff Gideon's got a connection to, Exegol? He's talking, he's got a Palpatine line.
I was going to say, I would think he would, because he is like a higher up in the remnants of the Empire. So
I mean, yeah, and Palpatine's still running shit. It's like
in the shadows.
Yeah, he's running shit, and
in the shadows always.
I mean, who else would they work for? Well,
that's the thing too, is that like we don't know. We don't know what else is out there. There's also a chance that Moff Gideon is just like one of like 10 warlords who is trying to gain control of shit. We never know who the fuck is out there.
I was gonna say, because there are like at this point there are a bunch of like warlords, like former Empire like higher ups that are just like trying to carve out their own new empire, but there also are like people who are still trying to resurrect the First Order. And the way that Moff, like especially in not this episode but the episode before, the way he was talking to the one pilot,
long live the Empire.
Yeah, I get heavy vibes of he's not just one of those guys who's like, all right, the Empire fell, I'm just going to carve my own chunk of the galaxy out and just be...
He has a dedication.
He does seem like a company man for sure.
Yeah, he is trying to revive the Empire 100%, and that's the type of thing you would research if you're trying to bring back, the fucking Sith Lord. You're researching cloning and all that stuff.
Well, and see, that's what we need, some clarification on, like, how long had Palpatine been cloned when we see him in The Rise of Skywalker? How soon after Return of the Jedi did they bring his clone essence into being again?
Well, didn't he immediately, because that's the only reason he survived the Death Star 2.0, the only reason he survived it was because of the fact that while he was falling, he literally just like transferred his essence or whatever you want to call it into a clone.
Oh,
and so I think I
didn't know that.
Yeah, I think he's like the what we see in like the Force Awakens. I think he's literally been that like decaying clone since the Death Star, and I think like what they're researching now is to try and get a clone that they can actually like use the Force and all that stuff that he can eventually go into.
So do you think these clones are supposed to be Palpatine, and then they just got so messed up that it turned out to be a Snoke character, and then Palpatine
that's the thing too, is there are theories that Snoke is just a failed Palpatine.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because that was the whole, like, all the clones that could, like, that they could put the Force into were all like deformed and gross looking, and that would result in a Snoke. And I think this is just like to try and show, like, because whenever they first said like, oh, Snoke was a clone, Sidious like transferred his mind into a new clone. Everyone at first was like, well, why are they just like just bringing clones out of nowhere? I think this is just to kind of like throw a bone to people who are kind of like, no, they've been working on clones this whole time. This has been in their plan since day one of the Empire, is because Palpatine knows he's dying eventually.
Well, that's the thing, is that like the Clone Wars happened before the Empire. There's no way that like Palpatine's not secretly doing cloning somewhere.
Yeah,
that means evil as fuck. Of course he's cloning shit somewhere in this fucking galaxy. There's clones.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think this is what that is them just being like, see, look, he is really as evil as...
Yeah. I don't think he died going down the hole. Like, everyone that goes down a hole doesn't die in Star Wars unless we see their body dead. I think if this was like a transfer of essence sort of thing, I think he would have been dead, and then like he would have had some form of a Force ghost, even though we've only seen, friendly, Jedi version of Force ghosts. Maybe he's dead and he can manipulate the Force, somehow, and that's how he put himself into Snoke.
See, that's the problem, is that we just do not have the clarity. Like, I would love, and like we can theorize all we want, and I know there's a lot of fun in the theorizing, but it's like, it would also be nice to know what the fuck happened with Palpatine.
So no, I think that, like what I was saying, I think that is actually something they've come out and said, like in one of the like how like after the movies they always release like the art of like books that go in more in depth about different like parts of the movie. I think in one of the art of books or something like that, they actually came out and said Palpatine survived. Like he was gonna die because it was literally a fall into a giant fucking hole, and then that entire space station blew up and fell onto a different planet. Like he's not surviving that. And I think like they said like this is how he survived it, is he transferred his essence, and so I think they've actually like confirmed like that was how. Might be misremembering all like some of this, but I think they have actually confirmed it.
All right, well I'll have to look into that more. But at this point,
I just thought about, I would love to hear what noise Palpatine's making as he's falling in this Death Star. I mean, how many times are there memes of freaking Palpatine like, no, and fucking,
I think he's falling I think he's falling the entire way, just like, fucking asshole, I'll kill him.
I think that man is one of the dopest. He has one of the dopest moves in all of Star Wars history.
Yo, the whirling dervish,
bro. He did a 1080. Like who else can do that? Damn,
bro.
Yoda
can. But dude, when I saw Palpatine do it, I laugh every time. I
have another theory regarding these clones.
Oh, let's fucking go. Keep them fucking coming.
So, at the end, we see the Dark Troopers. Right? These are droids. In the EU, that was only the first evolution of the Dark Trooper. After that, it was a force, or a group, that used the Force and was like, answered to one man. So, I'm thinking these clones, they're trying to make an army of Force users to put into Dark Trooper armor.
Yeah.
At Moff Gideon's command.
That'd be scary.
That could be another option, yeah.
Can you imagine, like,
that would be
clone,
so sick.
and then just putting their hand out, and you're like, what are you doing? You just start choking out of nowhere? Like,
you're like, well, what are you doing? And then you get slammed against the wall.
Wouldn't you be fucking mad? Just like, I don't know.
That's the opposite end of the spectrum. Like, we're taking stormtroopers being just utter shit and just can't fuck with anyone, and now they're gonna be OP as fuck. Like,
I think I truly believe that Palpatine's behind all of it, and he wants him for himself. I don't think he wants to share this power with anyone else.
Well, that'd be cool too.
And
I'm down with that.
Yeah, I don't think he would put him in just stormtrooper or like just armor and like make him go do the fuck shit. But I mean,
well, that other option that like I'm posing is that Moff Gideon has no line to Palpatine whatsoever. He is not under his influence. He is planning his own thing and trying to rebuild the Empire under him.
I don't think people are that scared of Moff Gideon to kill themselves. I think they're that scared of Palpatine that they're gonna bite their tooth and off themselves. Then I don't think Moff Gideon can be that scary.
Well, they did talk about how he just killed a whole platoon of soldiers because like one of them spoke out of turn.
I mean,
in the last season.
Yeah, but
you're right. He is kind of an asshole.
In a
good way.
I feel like there's someone above him. I don't know.
No, but that would see, and like I don't want to dismiss your theory because I absolutely fucking love it, and I would absolutely love if like at some point just randomly like Moff Gideon was like, my lord, and he like accepted a hologram, and it was Palpatine just like, Mr. Gideon.
I feel like he almost has to be just because of the fact, like the way we've seen his character so far. He's the perfect character of I am fully devoted to the Empire, and he's high enough ranking that he would have known about like all the different 1,000 different like orders that Palpatine had for after his death.
In The Rise of Skywalker, when that general takes over after Hux dies, the way they end the call in that hologram, I'm pretty sure, is Palpatine tells him, "Long live the Empire."
Yeah,
I think that is right, 100%.
Also, Colton, have you played Star Wars Squadrons?
I haven't played it all the way through, but I've started.
Wait, no, or sorry, not Star Wars, or what? No, not Star Wars Squadrons.
Fallen Order,
Battlefront 2.
Oh,
Battlefront 2. Yes.
The campaign
Are you talking
for it.
about Corvus or?
I'm just talking about like the general that like is the like main character's dad or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That like the admiral that he clearly knows about the Final Order and all that stuff because they end up like because of everything that ends up happening in the story.
Yeah.
So I feel like there's no way that Moff Gideon wouldn't also know about the true like the plans for after his eventual death, and so I feel like Moff Gideon knows and is also planning on resurrecting the Empire for Palpatine and just killing everyone.
Okay.
Well, this has just gotten into a whole different lane for this show,
yeah,
man.
we are
Like,
just
if we tie Palpatine into this fucking show, do you realize how important that makes this to canon?
Yeah.
That's very true.
It is the gap filled. Like
the gap.
Yeah.
Oh, man. All right.
Well, I mean, we're already about to tie Ahsoka into it.
Yeah.
So like they really just said, all right, I know let's season
make
1
the show that will make everything worth it.
Yeah, I know season 1 had nothing to do with canon at all. Let's tie every single important character that is still alive and still relevant back into it.
Oh, I think they saw the mess up with the sequel series, and they said, let's plan this out from day one. Let's plan out from day one. Have everything set in stone. Know what we're going for. I think they're definitely tying it in. But
I just don't know. I just think I don't know. I don't know if they. I feel like then you have to put a box creatively around Favreau and Filoni, and they're probably just like, I don't know if they want. Like they're not. Dude, think about how good they are creatively. Like you can't put them in any sort of box.
But I mean, even any box that you would create around it, like to keep it in canon, like there's always still like it's still a TV show, so they can just be like, all right, I know we've been on this 4-episode arc of us getting to Ahsoka, but we're gonna fuck off for one episode to go see Navarro because we think it'd be fun, creativity wise, to go do this. So they can it's because it's a TV show and you're not limited to 2 hours of screen time in a movie theater that takes 4 years to develop. It doesn't really put a box around them.
There's also the question of, do they bring? I think they have. I'm trying to think of a way they wouldn't tie into the Skywalker saga because they said this is the end of the Skywalker saga. Like we're not going to do anything else with it. Wouldn't tying Palpatine and stuff like that into it add to it?
I mean,
I think
not really if they keep it outside of the true, if they don't include a Skywalker in it.
I think they have to, man. I mean, everything is just pointing towards it at this point. I mean,
I know if they do that, I'll be so happy.
They put it in
I'm gonna keep my hopes down.
The time that they're in right now, it's the gap that we don't know anything about. Is it too out? Okay, I have this one other thought. Is it too out there to say that Snoke exists right now? That's Palpatine's clone. He figured out a way to clone people on Exegol. But this clone is trying to do what Palpatine has been doing right now. And
now you're getting real expansive. So we're going to get a Palpatine versus Palpatine sort of.
Dude, we are Inception levels of shit right now. We are just fucking in here, bro.
Yeah, they think Palpatine's dead. They're answering to Snoke. Turns out it's actually Palpatine. They're telling them, I don't know. This is insane. We've been talking about theories for 10 minutes now, and they all could happen.
No.
Very well.
I also just think them, if they try and, truly say, the Skywalker saga, we're done with it, that's just, that's not possible if they're working in the time span from, 20 BBY to, 40 ABY. Anything
Yeah,
in time in that time span is just going to inherently be involved in the Skywalker saga.
That's definitely
unless
fair.
you
That's
truly.
why I was saying. That's why I ended up being like,
Yeah.
no, they wouldn't. They definitely end up
Yeah.
tying it in somehow.
Unless you truly just say there's no Force involved, and like unless you took Baby Yoda out of it and it was just Din just flying around the galaxy, getting up to misadventures and all that stuff. That's the only way that you can truly have it be outside of the Skywalker saga.
It's so funny looking at where we are now and like me thinking back to before the series started and me being
Oh my
just
gosh.
clueless as to where the fuck it would go.
Yeah.
I don't think you. I don't think I or
And I
anyone
was so ready for it.
Yeah,
I was so ready to just be like, I'm ready to follow this guy around.
I'm
And
ready
now
to follow
we've
this
gotten
guy.
Something completely else than
Yeah.
what I anticipated, and it's so much better than I
Oh,
anticipated.
so much better.
Do you
I
think
saw-
we'll get answers this season though about what?
No.
what?
Like
The clones or the Palpatine?
clone
No,
stuff,
not a
the
chance.
Clone in generals, like whatever the
chance.
theory may be. Do you think it's this?
Maybe finale. Maybe finale.
I think they
best.
still have so much to build with Moff Gideon that like you don't have to jump the gun for anything bigger than him.
Exactly.
You don't
I
have
think
to go to Palpatine this season because you've still got Moff Gideon to establish, and we're already four
This-
episodes in.
4 episodes.
Yeah, we're 4 episodes in. So I mean, if they're going
Yeah.
8-episode season, which they are, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
So
we're
many
halfway.
episodes.
So we're halfway through. Like, think about, and this is what I texted this to you guys today. In the trailer, there's only footage from the first 4 episodes. So we have literally no indication. We have seen zero from anything that's about to happen from here on out. I mean,
I
we
hate
know
that.
Ahsoka's coming, but we have not seen anything. We have
Yeah.
not heard, like, we literally, it's just our guesses. It's
Yeah.
just our guesses and what they've teased. But even then, that's still, like, how much have they teased and still not revealed, and how much have they not teased that just came out of the blue? So, like, we are in for a fucking roller coaster.
Yo, I'm fucking ready.
I
also-
need the episode now.
Yeah, no, I can't wait for it. I also think that these clones right here could literally be like just one of those things that they show for like what were they on the screen for like 30 seconds maybe
Mhm.
in this episode of season 2, and they might not bring it back until midway through the next season.
Oh yeah, that's
Just
a,
because
that's a
there's-
distinct possibility.
There's so much more that they can build up onto,
Yeah.
and then they can bring it up. Episode 4 of season 3, they can be like, "Oh yeah, remember those clones you saw for 30 seconds? Palpatine was actually one of those clones, and he's here to kill you."
Oh no.
I have another theory that I'm really excited about to get to later. So let's
Move on.
keep moving. Let's keep moving.
All right. Wow, that was awesome.
That was a
It
tangent,
was.
and
It
I
was
love
great.
it.
And I'm willing to bet we'll take another theory tangent here in a little bit. But Kara just disgusted says, "I thought you said this was a forward operating base." Kara's like, "Well, I fucking thought it was." And Kara points out that this is obviously no military operation; it's a fucking lab. And she commands the Mythrol to go to the computer and figure the shit out. Just figure
The
something out. I don't
Mythrol.
know. And he retrieves a hologram of Dr. Pershing. And in the message, Pershing says the following. I wrote the whole thing down. All right. Replicated the results of the subsequent trials, which also resulted in catastrophic failure. There were promising effects for an entire fortnight, but then, sadly, the body rejected the blood. I highly doubt we'll find a donor with a higher M count, though. I recommend that we suspend all experimentation. I fear that the volunteer will meet the same regrettable fate if we proceed with the transfusion. Unfortunately, we have exhausted our initial supply of blood. The child is small, and I was only able to harvest a limited amount without killing him. If these experiments are to continue as requested, we would again require access to the donor. I will not disappoint you again, Moff Gideon.
They're grabbing Ahsoka's blood.
Maybe.
I mean,
Maybe.
is your midichlorian count just set and it never grows, or is it as you get,
I think so.
like as you
I
become?
think it's just set.
Yeah. I think it's just like something that like, yeah, I think it's set at birth.
If
pretty
you
much.
were to argue, but if we do, considering kind of what Joseph said, I feel like it's probably more at a young age, maybe. Like it's one of those things where like Baby Yoda probably has more now. Like, and
Than
that's
he
not
will
to say
later
that
in
he would,
life.
yeah, like, and that's not to say that he would deteriorate necessarily. Like,
No.
in terms
I get
of,
what you're
like,
saying,
Force-
though.
in
It's
touch
just
with the
something
Force.
as he gets
But like,
older.
I feel like it's probably like really concentrated and like really like there as a young. Like, I just feel like, because think about how many times you see like in shows where like there's a young kid or like young somebody with powers. Like it's super strong, right? I mean, think about
Mhm.
Anakin. Like when they
right.
felt it super hard when he was like super young. You know what I mean? So I feel
100%.
like, but I don't know.
I think midichlorian count grows. I don't know. I think as you become more, one with the Force. I mean, midichlorians are how the Force is manipulated, sort of thing. And I guess I don't know. I think your midichlorian count is just how easily you can pick it up, and then I think it can grow over time.
See, I think
steroids. Steroids in the Star Wars universe, just like
midichlorian steroids.
Just like just put Barry
shoot
Bonds
up
that shit. Just fucking.
See, now I think it's like constant, but like your like force powers, like it's how easily you can use the midichlorians and like to manipulate stuff. And so that's why like as you get older, you get better at manipulating them. But I think it's like constant because I like the way that I imagine it is it's like you have X number of midichlorians like in each cell, and then like as you grow up, that number just stays constant.
Yo, you know what I just thought about?
What's up?
How do we only use 10% of our brain? But like, it's like
That's not true.
Okay,
Yeah, we use 100% all the time. It's 100% while we're sleeping. But
I learned that in psychology. Like, I was like, how do we only use 10% of our brain? My teacher was like, that's fucking false.
You're an idiot. How dare you ask me that?
And I was like, man, that's so disappointing. I wanted to only use 10% of my brain power.
Bro, what was that
what about the other 90%? Where's it all at?
Yeah, what was that movie?
Lucy?
Is that what it was?
Lucy. Yeah,
Bro,
it had Scarlett
that movie's
Johansson.
irrelevant now. I'm never gonna watch it. I mean, I haven't seen it, but now I'm definitely not gonna watch it. If this shit is all based on a fucking lie.
Nah,
saw that
like
movie
watch
in
it
theaters.
does Morgan Freeman narrate that movie?
he does.
I can't remember.
Okay, then just watch it for that. It's a great.
I saw it once, and it was in theaters.
Yeah, it's not a great movie, but listening to Morgan Freeman talk is
but
always
like,
amazing.
I really want to finish my thought, even though it's not true, and now I'm really upset about it. But like, bro, tell me how, if we only use 10%, I'm making air quotes for those of you that can't see this. If you only use 10%, bro, tell me why I could get shot anywhere in my brain, and the odds are it's gonna fuck up some shit in my brain. But like, bro, I only use 10%. So in theory, 90% of the surface area in my brain should be okay to just get blasted to fucking smithereens. But like,
you're absolutely fucking right.
Like, there's like this much wiggle room in there, bro. Like, what the fuck is that? I only use 10% anyway. Why can't I just get like some fucking why? That's fucking bullshit to me. I mean, I guess it's bullshit
hilarious.
at the stem of it, but like still, when that was my train of thought, that was what I was thinking.
I was so curious what you were going to ask whenever you said, you know what, even though it's not true, I'm still going to ask it. I was like, God, I wonder what it is, if it's what this question is. And then you went with that, and I'm so happy you went with it.
I had to get it out there. I mean, like, you guys are my, like, jumping off point. Like, I throw all my shit at you guys at the kitchen sink. Like,
so, I have a theory, and I had to connect a few dots here to try and make this theory. I think Boba Fett was hired by Moff Gideon.
Dude, it would be so fitting.
And I think he was hired by Moff Gideon to find him a body they could use as a volunteer to get the blood of Baby Yoda. And you know who I think he picked up at the end of Season 1, Episode 5, is Fennec Shand. And I think Fennec Shand will be our volunteer here.
Shit.
She's
already a trained assassin. She's gonna be dirty.
So fucking, like, you just get this shit, dude. You fucking.
I think that's gotta be it.
Yeah,
right?
why else would it show someone with spurs, obviously, someone we know, walk up to a supposedly dead body of somebody, and then just cut off? We haven't heard anything from it.
That's another great example of what I was talking about with the clone bodies, is where it's a 30-second scene that everyone like freaks out about for 2 weeks and then completely forgets about, and then it becomes super important in Season 2.
There is the problem, though, that at the end of Season 2, Episode 1, Boba Fett was on Tatooine watching Din. Now, that doesn't have to be a problem. It could just be that, Boba's following Din.
Yeah, I mean, she could be captured somewhere on an Imperial, just something, and then he's just wanting Baby Yoda back because that's the only midichlorian blood that they know as of right now, which soon I think Boba's going to follow Mando, and then they're going to see Ahsoka, and then maybe Ahsoka's going to do some Force shit, and they're going to be like, ooh, bigger blood volume. Let's get this bitch, and
That is a possibility,
Yeah.
and like that's another theory that I posed is that next week when we do get to Ahsoka, and we'll get to that. But that's kind of my theory. Who the volunteer is Fennec Shand.
Well, and maybe
that's
yeah,
my idea.
maybe kind of as he was saying is that the reason Boba Fett was on Tatooine at the end was he was tailing Din to try and eventually capture Baby Yoda for Grief Karga. Or not Grief Karga, Moff Gideon.
That too.
Man.
That too. But Din looks to the room, hopeful, saying that this transmission has to be old. Moff Gideon is dead. And the Mythrol says, no, this message is 3 days old. And like the music gets so tense here. Like I already knew Moff Gideon was alive, but it scared the shit out of me.
I had such vibes. Like you remember when Obi-Wan and Yoda come to the temple in 3? And they turn on the the message or whatever. They look at the footage, and they play that
hologram.
Yeah, dude, that's the exact vibes. Like that eeriness, like that feeling of just like, oh god, like dread, like that, bro. Oh, it's same feeling. Like,
yeah, I get what you're saying too. Like, because it just feels so ominous.
Yes,
it was just like, fuck.
They found out
like what are like it had me
one.
worried. I was like, what are we gonna do? And like I'd been watching him this whole time, and like it was fine. Like it's been fine so far, but now I'm like, oh my god.
Your first thought is, oh god, he's still alive, and you're like, oh wait, I knew that.
I think it's just the fact that they know now. Like,
oh yeah, they had to get that out there. Moff had to be revealed at some point. But Din has the realization here that if Moff Gideon is still around, he definitely cannot be leaving the child alone.
Yeah.
As he tries to make a break for it, the troopers rain down on them, and a firefight ensues. But they take cover and quickly take them out. And Mando's like, "Yo, I got to get back." And they're like, "Yeah, we get it. Get the fuck out of here. Take a jetpack. You're a lot faster." And
see ya.
And like he had to get the fuck out of there. And down on another corridor, Karga, Kara, and Mythrol flee from some Imperials, and they exchange some fire. Din, on the other side of the facility, dispatches a couple troopers without granting them the time to react. And he arrives at the reactor controls again and tries to fly out, but he gets shot at, so he dispatches this one. 2 more come up behind him, and another blasts him when he arrives at the top. But he murders him, and on his way out, he murdered 2. And then one of them flies in to the lava below. It's just an exquisite scene showing how badass Din is.
It's just so
he's on a
bro.
mission, like
he's on a. I'm
trying to
getting
save
back
child.
to my child.
Yeah, like,
okay.
It also made me happy.
Yeah, he's not holding anything back.
Yeah, I really wanted someone to fall into that lava. As soon as they got up to it and it was a lava reactor, I was like, I want someone to fall in that. And I mean, yeah, they're burning to death in a super painful way, but I don't care. I want to see someone fall in that lava.
I feel like it's pretty instant.
You never know. We'll never know unless we fall into lava, and we'll only know for a couple seconds.
Let's give it a try.
Dude, no, that is not instant. No fucking way is it instant. Bro,
even if it is instant,
bro, what if it's
painful.
like he falls all the way down, he hits it and it just goes really slow.
He's just quicksanding, bro. Dude, you could go all the way up to your fucking waist, and it's lava, so it's gonna cauterize it. You're not gonna bleed out.
No, because at a certain point, you're dying of shock from that.
Your heart is gone. Your brain is gone.
Yeah, obviously, once you get to the internal organ, like the important shit, yeah. But if you land on your feet, bro, you're fine.
If I'm just belly flopping into this lava, obviously I'm gonna lose my fucking mind.
It is not like quicksand.
Get the fuck out of here.
I'm falling that high, that fast.
On that shit. I'm built different,
Stop
bro.
talking about how you would die in
built
lava.
different out here.
Listen, I always land on my feet, Joseph. I would land on my feet and slowly sink into the lava.
Why do you think it's quicksand like? I think you just bloop, dead.
It's not water.
That shit ain't viscous at all, bro. That shit is mad thick. That shit thicker than a bowl of oatmeal.
Funny.
Come on now, bro.
But after this guy fucking falls in, Din blasts off on his jetpack, and we cut again to the other 3, and they get back to the hangar where they met with opposition. Some stormtroopers firing down on them, and they seem like they're pinned down, but Kara's like, yo, cover me. And she runs over to the Trexler Marauder. She gets started up, pulls up behind Karga, and Mithral was like, "Hop in, bitches. We're respecting women." And they dip on out of there over the cliff, smashing Mithral's speeder. And they are closely followed by some troopers on speeder bikes, which originally looked super fucking pimp.
Yeah.
And then two of them die in the most funny way possible.
God, it literally confirmed my theory. Like, no, that nobody has respect for these fucking guys. They can be armed with the coolest shit, and they're going to be like, what's the fucking most embarrassing thing that we can make happen to these guys?
Let's make them crash into each other going down this
Just
mountain.
off of the jump. Like, we're talking about, you just took off, bro. You have been on this thing for maybe 10 seconds.
Okay, but in their defense,
shit together. No,
in their defense, they were trying to go down this down a fucking 45-degree slope.
And here's the thing: figure out another way down.
Oh, they had another way down. Like they could have gone down smarter.
If they're stored up there, they're obviously expected to go down that fucking way.
Not that route.
Dude. Listen, here's what I have to say. Whoever does fucking quality control for the Empire, bro, they fucking suck at their job. They're Creed Bratton in this bitch, bro. They just fucking suck.
There have been so many times in this episode especially where they've just put little things in that didn't need to be included but have made me so happy. The stormtrooper, falling into the lava, them landing on the guy's speeder for no reason at all, but it was super funny. Because it's just another fuck you to the guy.
How much can we say fuck you to Mithral?
Yeah, them the on the speeders all colliding into each other. Because as they went off that, I saw them going down the slope. I was like, oh, at least half of them are dying just to get onto flat land. They're all dying. And as soon as they started colliding, because the people I was watching it with, they were like, oh, this is so cool. And I was like, no, they're dead. And they're like, no, they're fine. And they started colliding. I was like, told you. That's just the way it works. It's awesome. I love it.
Think about how big of a hole is left in this episode without Mithral. Bro, what are they doing? What are they going to do?
Who are they going to shit on the entire time?
They needed Mithral.
Purely responsible for everything. Like, this was the dude in the group project that just gets, like, everybody tells him to do the work, and, like, rather than standing up and being like, yo, I'm giving all these fuckers zeros on the fucking survey, and they're getting their ass a fucking F. Like, no, this man was like, yeah, I'll do it. Like, bro, come on.
And then on the survey at the end, they all gave him a 0 by landing on his fucking speeder. They said he didn't do shit.
Side note, really quick, looked up the lava thing. If you step foot in lava at all, or you're around lava, your lungs instantly burn and you can't breathe at all.
Well, but he has a mask on, so he has a breathing mask.
You die.
Nope.
You die. You don't sink.
That's fucking wild.
You were correct about you don't sink. You kind of float for a little bit, but you're dead. Your lungs literally, you're done.
Yeah, but he's in clone armor, and those have like breathers on him. He's good for a little bit.
Sorry.
I could survive without anything, so I don't know what the conversation is about.
He's just built different, Joseph. You gotta understand.
But after the they take the suicide dive down the hill, chase ensues, and Karga takes control of the guns, and he takes aim at these speeders. He's only able to take out one of them before the others accelerate to flank the Marauder.
Dude, the fact that this thing had guns was so cool to me. I don't know, pimp. Like it just like was awesome.
Did this remind you at all? Whenever
family road trip vibes, bro. Like just like the chaos that's going on right now. Just family road trip, just like all over it.
I don't know why, but this reminded me of whenever the Millennium Falcon, the gun was stuck.
Yeah,
Ray was piloting it, and you had to like get the perfect angle, even though the gun wasn't broke on this thing. You know, it just reminded me.
It had that vibe.
Yeah, I don't know why, but
good, bro. Like no, this
I don't know. I loved it. I love this whole.
Like,
there were so many badass things that happened in super fast. You know,
but
what's
the word? It was just an overall badass.
Many things happen very quickly, and the speeders.
Yeah, Joseph, you froze for a while. I thought you stopped. I thought you stopped talking.
Aww. Dang, I was going off, man.
I could tell. Like you froze in the middle of talking, and then you unfroze, and you were still going.
Yeah, the way you froze, it was obvious that you were in depth.
You were on a roll. I'm so sorry.
It's all right.
And man,
I was talking about how like so many badass things happen so quickly. Like speeders going down a mountain. I'm like, I didn't know they could do that well. And
then they didn't do it that well.
TIE fighters just freaking go off. you know, and then wow, I don't know. There was just so many cool things that happened in succession.
It was such a cool sequence here at the end of this episode, you know, and they take aim at Kara and try to fire through her window, but she crushes one against the rocks, and the other climbs up top, and Karga turns right around to see him and fires him straight off that bitch.
Sick.
It was quite funny.
Fuck.
But back at the base, TIE fighters launch as the whole thing goes up in flames. And they chase the Marauder as well. They're like, nothing else to do. And Karga, I mean, our whole base blew up. So, but Karga again tries to take aim. But these are much harder to lock onto. You know, TIE fighters, they're pretty mobile. And he is continuously unable to hit them. And it looks like they're about done for as the battle continues to wage on. And when he finally locks onto a TIE, it explodes. And you're like, oh, thank God. But then it tumbles directly for his gun, and it takes out the turret.
Which is something I don't think happens enough in movies. Like, any air scenes, I don't get how, like, these planes just clap a fucking plane right in their path. And, like, no debris fucks their shit up at all. Ever. Yeah. It never happens. Like, bro, I'm sorry, but like something's got to go wrong.
It happens a lot in Star Wars where like they blow something up and they fly through the explosion and you're like, that was super fucking cool looking, but how did they do that?
Dude, there's got to be something, like something coming up, and I guess that's the perks of having like the Millennium Falcon where there's like no fucking like turbines or jets like on the side. Like there's nothing to fuck you up there. But like there's got to be some debris fucking up your glass, something. Like something has to happen there.
And this was like their only way to fight back this turret.
Yeah.
So now they're fucked. They're officially pinned down. And the three fighters fly ahead to circle around. They're ready for another attack run. And then the fucking Razor Crest looking beautiful as fucking ever. And I was like, no fucking wonder they kept it sidelined for so long. They were like, the reason we're doing this is so when it comes back, it's the most badass sequence you've seen in his ship.
I think it was the most badass flying and shooting in Star Wars history, if I'm being honest. Just
you might be right.
It's so good. It was really good.
The little flaps opening
the score to go with it.
Yes.
The score to go with it,
dude,
bro.
Anytime you get a scene where, I know you're not there yet, but anytime you get a scene where you kill the fucking engines and that shit stalls is just so fucking sick. That shit just gives me all the fucking...
Bro, it was beautiful. And, you know, he comes in, he's piloting the crest, chases one of these TIEs high into the atmosphere with baby in the back, hands in the air, smacking on some macaroons. And the others hop out of the Marauder at the city's gate, and they watch the ensuing dogfight through binoculars. It was pretty cool. And Din, you know, he takes out the TIE. Baby cheers, hands over his head. He's like, ah! It's adorable. And then kills the engines, swings that bitch around, and you get the roller coaster fucking top of the hill sound. You get the and the man just launches back at it. And I was just like, oh, fuck yeah. And he's heading straight for this TIE fighter, dogfighting that shit. Corkscrews, avoiding all these.
Bro, I was so scared. I was like, bro, you just got this shit back. You better dodge these goddamn bullets. Like, I swear.
And then fucking bam, 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 he just blows that shit up, and they play that song, and it's like, fuck yeah, the others celebrate on the ground, and it's just like a really Star Warsy moment. It just felt really fucking cool and really fun.
It really did.
And then Din looks back at the kid, and he goes, not bad, huh? To which Baby responds with vomiting his macaroons.
Straight blue vomiting. The most blue thing I've ever seen.
Parallels between Baby Groot and Baby Yoda this episode were too many, bro. Too many. Him eating those macaroons reminds me of Baby Groot sitting there eating the M&Ms. And two, bro, just vibes.
Oh, what happens? You think we ever see Baby Yoda dance?
100%.
Have to.
There's no way we don't.
The question is, bro, does Mando break a move? Does Mando bust a move? Surely not, right?
Yo, dude, here's the thing. I bet there's like some scene down the line where it's like they're in a setting where they're completely safe. Music's playing, baby's on the dance floor dancing. Someone tries to come over to Din and is like, "Come on, man. You know you want to." And he's like, no. And then he's like, they're like, come on, man, Dan. He's like, no, I really don't fucking do that. Then they're gonna be like, fucking do it. And then he just starts breakdancing, fucking killing shit straight in the middle of the dance.
I've been practicing this
my
my whole life until someone asked me to do this. Dude, that'd be so awesome.
I think if that's going to happen, it's going to be like they're going to be in the ship, just them two, only ones in the cockpit. There's going to be music playing for whatever reason, and Baby Yoda's going to be just jamming out, and then Din's just going to look over and then just like sigh, and then just kind of start dancing along with him.
Yeah, I bet that's more accurate.
Yeah.
If it's going to be something like that, and Din will be like, he'll like start moving his head with the beat, and you'll be like, Din's
it's going to be like the little sigh whenever Baby Yoda was playing with the little like the knob on the piece or whatever, and Din finally just like sighed, pulled it off, and then like handed it to him. I feel like it's gonna be that, only dancing.
What does Star Wars music sound like?
Bro, we've have evidence. We've got
Fair. I don't know why I asked that.
We've got that lady at Hut Compound that she was clearing up.
Oh yeah,
bro, she was airing that shit out.
Fair.
There's a nightclub that you see in Attack of the in the second one, Clone.
In Attack of the Clones, yeah.
You see the nightclub. Like, people be out there. You know what I mean.
You want to go home and rethink your life.
You want to buy some death sticks?
I don't want to sell you death sticks.
I
want to go home and rethink my life. Shut Watto. But you know, Din's, after he vomits, Din's like, oh boy. And he accepts an incoming transmission from Karga as he tries to clean up the vomit with his cape, which is just adorable. He's going to need a new cape. And Din tells Karga that they can call their IOUs even after the repairs. And when Karga offers him a drink, Din's like, nah, I got some onboard maintenance to attend to. I got to clean up my child. And we need to get going before Gideon, he catches wise that we're here. And they say goodbye for now. And to be honest, immediately when this episode ended, I went, I don't think we see Cara Dune and and Greef Karga again.
You don't? You don't
series.
Think Gideon comes and tries to fuck with everything at Navarro right now?
No, I think I had another thought after that, and that was the one. But I was like, maybe they try to spin it off. They've talked about how much they want to do spin-offs with characters from the series, and it seems like Cara Dune's been a really well-received character.
I refuse.
Maybe they do something.
I refuse.
Like they go like a Marshal of Navarro type thing. But I also think it would make a lot of sense. And here is my theory regarding Greef Karga's dedication to his planet. I think Moff Gideon is going to come in and be like, yo, we will destroy this shit. Give up Din and the baby. And either Greef Karga dies and you guys get your wish.
It's not a wish.
Whoa.
It's not a wish, man.
Also, you say you guys. I'm not part of this.
I don't want to be right anymore.
Group.
It was only good for this episode. I don't want to be right anymore.
I get it. No, I know. But I think either then he sticks to his guns and he's like, no, I'm a good man now. Or he's like, this is my planet.
Ooh.
So
see, I was going to go in a slightly different direction. I was thinking because they have that Moff Gideon clearly doesn't need to find them at this point because he has the tracker on them.
That's a good. That's that.
So
yeah.
I think that they find somehow they find out about the tracker on his ship, and so they go after him. And so then I think at some point Moff Gideon captures both Din and the baby, and then they, along with maybe Ahsoka, have to help free them, which would be immaculate.
Yo, that's a fucking brilliant idea. I would absolutely love it.
Bro, the family is so kick-ass there. Bro, that family's fucking loaded. Just fucking talent out the ass.
No, and I was thinking about it.
You have Ahsoka, you have Bo-Katan, you have them two.
I was listening, we heard Joe's talk his shit about Din and Ahsoka ending up together and shit. And I know that's not going to happen.
Dude, Filoni would despise that.
You never know.
Oh, he would despise that. But the more I thought about just really happy moments of Din, Ahsoka, and the baby all together, I was just like,
maybe
Uncle, maybe Aunt Ahsoka.
Aunt Ahsoka.
So hey, okay, so I have a question. So you guys were kind of talking about this. So in this scenario, in this point in time, and I'm just throwing this out here, and there's no credence to this. I just read it, and I'm just bouncing it out here. how old would Han Solo be at this point in time? Like, is he like Harrison Ford? Like, is he gonna be like full Harrison Ford, or could he potentially still be the young guy?
No, it'd be Harrison Ford.
Okay,
No.
okay.
No, because
this is right after Return of the Jedi.
So it's definitely.
So this isn't old Harrison Ford. This is.
Well, no,
I get what you're saying. You're saying original trilogy Harrison Ford. Yes, yeah.
And I guess you could age up Alden Ehrenreich a bit, or age down.
Because I saw something that said that Disney wasn't like. I saw something that said Disney wasn't quite done with him, and that somebody had kind of tossed out there that maybe he could make an appearance. And what I had said was, you had talked about a Grief Karga Cara Dune like kind of spinoff. What if like that just takes place on Navarro? It's it's pretty much just solely focused there. They don't do much leaving. What if we see him pop in? Yeah, like hop in.
That'd be cool.
Something like that.
Cool.
Because I'm sure if they did a spinoff like that, they're probably not going to make it as high stake. Like it's probably going to be more grounded in its own,
That's what's interesting is that like if they do spinoffs, it's threatening to make them take place at the same time.
Yeah.
It's how do you give a different story stakes?
Yeah, you worry about fatigue too. Like you don't want to create too much in this one timeline, frame. I feel like you run the risk of doing too much too fast.
Yeah, I think a potential spinoff would kind of stay focused on Navarro and like the immediate, like the sector around it, whereas like the Mandalorian's going to continue to focus on the entire
bigger
galaxy,
picture.
essentially.
Bigger picture. What the Jedi are up to and shit like that.
Yeah, I think if they did a spinoff, I think the Mandalorian would be kind of what it's evolved to be into and take place more in the greater Star Wars universe and like the greater canon, whereas the spinoff would take place more of what I think we all honestly expected the Mandalorian to be, is just Cara Dune being a fucking space cowboy running around a couple planets, beating some people up, freezing them in carbonite, and then flying back to her planet.
Since the first episode of this season, we have not gotten much Mando Batman vibes.
No.
That's very true.
And you know why? It's because he's becoming more fatherly.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Maybe whenever Mando dies, Baby Yoda will turn into Batman.
He watches Moff Gideon murder Din.
Yeah.
And he is set on a life
Jesus
of vengeance.
Christ, please stop talking. Oh my God, I'm going to cry.
And Ahsoka as she clutches her pearls.
Oh my God, stop.
Maybe you never know.
Okay, I want to pose a question.
Thing?
I just want to pose a question.
Go for it.
Obviously, we know we're getting Ahsoka, and that's like huge. I mean, that's like, our reaction is massive to that. So, I guess my question is outside of Ahsoka, do you think we see anyone else like crazy, like someone like jaw-droppingly like holy shit? And I'm not saying it has to be somebody we've seen before in the trilogy and the movies, anything. I'm talking about just in general, anyone, anywhere, from any sort of canon. Yeah. But like I'm saying, maybe somebody we haven't seen.
Yeah, okay. I would say I don't think so. Just
like in The Mandalorian, we haven't seen.
Like, somebody like a huge character, somebody that we're gonna see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if we get that. Like, obviously,
no, I'm saying
I'm talking, that
level of character.
Yeah, like,
and I
our
don't
reaction when we found out we got Ahsoka was cast, like that reaction, like that feeling. We don't know what's to come for these next 4, right? So, like, do you think we see anybody that's like, oh my God?
Well,
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. But you could put stock in the theory that Din shows up to Corvus and is like, I'm in search of the Jedi. Ahsoka goes, I am no Jedi, but I can lead you to one.
It is.
And we get led straight to Luke
Skywalker, his training camp where he trained Kylo Ren. Baby Yoda's going to be there at the same time. Bro, I've been saying this from the beginning, man. I don't know. None of y'all.
That's not acceptable. That's not allowed to happen because
they wouldn't do anything with Luke. I don't think they'll touch Luke.
Just because of the fact that Kylo Ren killed all of the other like young Padawans.
True.
And so if he goes and trains with Luke, Baby Yoda's dead, so that's not acceptable.
And the others that made it off planet also died.
Yeah. I also don't know that we see any other like jaw-droppingly huge characters, just because of the fact that if we do, that would be so impressive on Disney's part to have kept it quiet for this long. Just because as soon as Ahsoka was cast as Rosario Dawson, is that how you say her name?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Soon as she was cast as Ahsoka, that shit was out immediately.
Yeah.
and
During
But here's
filming,
the
so
thing.
I don't think there's any way that we somehow get like just some huge surprise that like actually we also brought this character in and
What
no one's
if-
known about it.
what if they let some of that stuff slide, like Rosario Dawson?
And that is a thought.
Tamara Morrison is Boba Fett.
Yeah. Is let that slide to
And then be like,
yeah.
But wait a second, we've also got Sebastian Stan here in the back about to play Luke Skywalker.
Which would be awesome.
I think
Sebastian Stan
If I had to make-
looks exactly like young Mark Hamill.
if I had to put money on it, I'd say we're going to see Luke or Palpatine in the series as a whole, not this season. I think we're going to see Luke and Palpatine in the Mandalorian.
I think if we see Palpatine, at most it will be a hologram.
Yeah.
I
would agree with that.
Okay.
I don't think we see Palpatine in the flesh.
I honestly would almost say the same thing for Luke, and also with Luke, I don't think we would even involve Luke at all, just because if you think about it, Luke trained with Yoda for a bit, but not a ton. Ahsoka would be the one that really has the connection with Yoda and would know a little bit more information about what planet this is.
Well, that's the thing, though, is that whenever I rewatched Empire recently, and like when you watch that, you have no idea what the span of that movie is.
Well, and that's fair, but I mean, like, Luke trained with Yoda on that planet.
Ahsoka was literally trained as a young child by Yoda.
Yeah, and also trained as a true Jedi under Yoda,
under the Jedi Council and stuff. Yeah.
Also, looking at Sebastian Stan, I 100% agree with you. That would be a great middle-aged
Bucky
Luke.
Barnes.
Yeah,
fucking Bucky Barnes. Throw a beard on that man. Give him a fucking Mark Hamill 1977 haircut. It's a wrap.
I would agree with that.
It's a wrap. But later, two Republic X-Wings, they sit outside the city. One of the officers in Karga's office asking him about you can remember anything before the explosion? And Karga's holding it down. He says, nah. And,
Explosion?
The officer mentions the Razor Crest. He's like, well, then can you explain why and he's like, wait. I ain't said shit about no Razor Crest. They're like, but the transponder, like you said, man, fuck the law. The control droid can't tell anything apart that's pre-Empire. This isn't Coruscant. And I was like, man, Grief Karga just holding it down for his boy Din, and also not being incriminated for, blowing up a base.
And just playing it.
Well, but would he really be incriminated for that since it was an old Empire base?
Yeah,
I don't think
they are. I think they're
there's
fucking hard at. There's some.
I think New Republic is some fucking cops, and I think
Straight
what
up
they would have come.
To quote a wise man, straight up bitches. If you watch Last Dance,
See, I think they're mainly just asking him about the base, mainly just to be like, all right, if this base is blown up, clearly the Razor Crest had something to do with it. Because I know you guys are cool, but you guys are also kind of dickheads, and you're not blowing up a base by yourselves.
Hey, a village took out a whole sand-eating, big-ass dragon snake monster.
Yeah, once again, also with the help of Mando.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the
really
thing too, is that
it.
what's funny is that Din just happens to be wrong place, wrong time all the time.
Oh my god. Yeah.
When it comes to running into the Empire and situations he runs into, it's like anywhere the New Republic is trying to look, odds are Din's been there at this point. like the big moments, like where they deployed an entire battalion of troopers to a random city in Navarro. Like the New Republic's got to take a little bit of notice to that, right? And they did. They mentioned that here in a little bit, but Karga sends the officer on his way. He's like, get the fuck out. And the pilot makes his way over to Kara, who's feeding the lava meerkat still. And he comments on how well she cleaned up the system, and that the New Republic could use fighters like her. She's like, I'm no joiner, Blue. And he tells her that if there's something going on in the Outer Rim, that the core worlds don't believe it, but it's true. He says these incidents aren't so isolated, and they need to be stopped before it's too late. He's talking about just like Empire popping up everywhere. Just like it's still out here. And they don't believe it. They don't believe it's a problem, but they need to, And he's like, well, we can't do that without local support. We need troops on the ground. We need cities to coincide with the New Republic. And he looks to his tablet and says, says here you're from Alderaan, and he served when it was destroyed, which is just sad. And he asks if she lost anybody, and she tells him that she lost everybody.
That is heartbreaking, dude. Oh my god. Damn. Could you imagine, like, that's where you live,
Your whole planet.
you go off planet
being
for a little
destroyed?
bit, you hear news, not that your family died, but anyone that you knew on that planet is dead. They're gone. Damn.
And that's what's intriguing about the potential of a Cara Dune series is that, like, we don't know when. It would probably be a prequel.
I would like that way
Why
more.
she's hiding out. Why she's hiding out on, like, a Sorgon or whatever that planet is when Din shows up in season 1, episode 4. Like, how she got there.
I would like that prequel way more instead of just staying on, with the current story and just building off of it. I would love the prequel of it.
Yeah. So the officer, he goes on his way, and we cut to space, where we get sight of an Imperial light cruiser.
Holy crap!
We're like, oh, we're working our way up. This is a big ship. This is a big ass ship right here. Okay. And within, we see an officer receive a transmission from the same weird looking mechanic from earlier, and we're like, fuck yeah, this guy. We knew he was bad. And saying that the tracking device has been planted. You're like, fuck.
Just when the Razor Crest gets fixed, just when things are looking up, and it's like awesome.
And the officer tells them that they will be well rewarded in the new era. And I liked the way she said "new era."
Yeah, it definitely leads you to believe like there is a goal, like there is a redeemed goal here. Like they are trying to turn this over to someone or to some, right. They're not trying to be lawless, kind of like we talked about earlier. They're not trying to just like carve a chunk. Like they want the whole damn pie.
They want the whole goddamn thing.
Yeah. I also feel like at this point they need to devote like some company in the Star Wars universe needs to devote all of their like R&D into developing something that can scan a ship for a fucking tracker. Because there have been too many times.
No shit, right?
Yeah, where
like,
they just pop a fucking tracker on and say, "All right, see you in 2 months." Whenever I feel like catching up to you, because I know where you are at all times.
Yeah, Obi-Wan would have been fucked in Attack of the Clones.
You're right.
Yeah, like I feel like at this point they should have developed something to be able to be like, I'm noticing some weird signal coming from my ship. There's a tracker on my ship.
Yeah, that makes sense. But we need
where's the fun
conflict.
in that?
We need
plot.
And the officer makes her way down the hall. She punches open a door, and we see a room filled with light smoke and a caped figure standing in front of her. He turns. It is Moff Gideon.
Bro, seeing him again, just like, oh.
I was like, fuck yeah, the Moff. I'm so ready. I'm so ready for some Moff Gideon, bro.
Bro, Giancarlo Esposito, it just does such a good fucking job of just just in his like demeanor. Bro, he just commands like respect and like authority. He exudes that like just that like chill. And he did it in Breaking Bad and he looked like a fucking cornball, but like that dude was still fucking scary as shit.
Bro was wearing a short sleeve yellow button up with a tie
and serving
khaki
fucking chicken.
And
bro, fucking serving chicken, and this man was looking like a goddamn fucking
he was looking like fucking Jake from State Farm, bro. And he was horrifying.
Once again, you guys need to watch The Boys because his character in The Boys is the exact same character as he is in this, and it's so good.
God, I love it. I want him to just hit all the universes. Be a villain in Marvel, be a villain in DC, just make your way through the whole thing.
I would love for him to be a villain in Marvel.
We'll have to do some sort of fan cast for Giancarlo at some point. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. But he says he asks, does he still have the asset? And the officer says, yes, our source confirmed it. And Moff says, and we will be ready. And then just a fucking menacing smile creeps over his face.
Oh my God.
And I was like, God, he's so evil. This is the best villain we've had in so long from Star Wars. Like, Kylo Ren was never menacing, Like, he was just like, he was
too whiny. He was too whiny.
Yeah, you were afraid he was gonna break shit and murder people, but you weren't afraid of him. Like, it wasn't like, Jesus Christ, you make me just afraid when you speak.
Which, actually thinking of it, that character was designed exactly as a like the grandson of Anakin should be, because he got all of Anakin and Luke's whininess.
I was gonna go down to Hachi Station and get some power converters.
But Dad, because they're both such whiny characters, and they're the eventual final one of them ended up being a whiny little shit.
Bro just said when Anakin is burning. Oh, speaking of Imperial trash that is susceptible to lava, talk about Anakin.
Anakin's legs, God.
Bro,
Imperial
I guess
trash.
Stubbs, since he got his legs cut off.
Whole body was just burning. But the smile creeps over his face, and he turns to his latest toys. And lining these walls are Imperial Dark Troopers. Droid versions of them, I think.
Clone versions.
Well, I think we'll eventually get clone versions.
I think these ones were droids because they looked.
I mean, they were in that station.
Yeah, and they look just like Moff Gideon's armor.
Yeah, you think these things ever need a battery change?
That's probably what they're doing.
Yeah.
They're
Charging up like a bird. Like, you think I can get paid
stations
to go pick up a Dark Trooper that's died and like plug it in, like the bird scooters? You take them in and charge them. You think I can get
It's actually they send them out on a mission, and then they pay people to just pick them up at the end of their mission to go recharge them.
He almost made it back. You got to go get him, plug him in for a minute for me. Come on.
After this, we cut to black. And now we're headed to Chapter 13 next week, titled The Jedi, directed by Dave Filoni, written by Dave Filoni.
Oh, God, we are in for it. We are in for it.
If I don't get Ahsoka, I'm offing myself.
We are seeing Ahsoka. Like, there is literally.
I hope it's early. I hope it's early. Well,
he's got to be pulling up to the planet at the beginning of the next episode.
Oh, yeah.
That's what it's going to be, is he's arriving.
Okay,
Like,
you better be right. You were right last time. If you're not right again, Colton, I'm going to be mad.
We'll find out.
I'm holding you to these predictions.
You should. I'm doing much better than I anticipated. I can usually never really theorize like series, but like I'm doing a really good job of I'm trying really hard to connect dots.
Man,
you're doing the damn thing, man.
Yeah.
You're doing the damn thing, man.
No, you're doing the damn thing, man.
You're doing
Don't
the damn
fucking out nice me, Colton.
no, I'm Dirty Dan.
You smell good.
What did you? That's exactly what I was trying to say.
I hope you have a nice week.
I hope you have an excellent month.
I hope you have a wondrous year.
What I was just about to say that was exactly,
Sorry to bother you.
That's exactly what I was trying to get to, and I just couldn't formulate it.
Bro, I cannot wait for next week.
Oh my god, it can't come fast enough. I gotta have it.
Gotta have it. Well, this has been the Penny Bloom Podcast, The Mandalorian Rewatch, Star Wars: The Mandalorian: The Watchmen. 'Twas I, Colton Robertson. I was joined by Jose Jorge Joseph.
'Twas I, Joseph George.
We also had Miles Buttress.
Hey, anytime, man.
Oh, next week even, we got none other than KB Kyler Barnett. Thank you.
Absolutely.
So we'll see you next week for Chapter 13, The Jedi, directed by Dave Filoni, written by Dave Filoni. We're gonna see Ahsoka. I can't wait. Peace, love, and bloom, and always praise Keanu Reeves.